Hello, thank you for being here. Such early time. We are the team of Jinx, the series, 8-part series, which is based on the novel Gypsy, Fairest by them all, by Christian Novak. It is a Croatian novel we loved on the first read because of its strong engagement in socially relevant topics. Novel is very successful in Croatia and the region. It was adapted for the theater, and it was also translated into several languages, where it was also successful and winning audience and awards everywhere.
So we entered the series with a secret love affair between a middle-aged woman and a young man. So what should be wrong with that? Milena is a white divorcee and Sandy is a Roma. They live in a strongly divided community where the majority white Croatian population is irritated by the neighboring Roma slums. They mind Roma men taking their jobs, they mind Roma children going into Croatian schools, and they would really not like if Roma start moving into their village. The Roma, on the other hand, feel as if they don't have any chance in integration because whatever they do, however much they try, they're being rejected for who they are. So these tiny flames of resentment turn into violent conflicts, and this will culminate in a brutal crime with 3 bodies found in a forest and Milena's lover Sandy in a coma.
Our protagonist is a young police detective, Roxana. She is also Roma origin, but she was adopted at early age, probably from the village very similar to the one that she is now heading to, by the high-class family in the capital. Her parents, the judge and the law university professor tried to integrate her as much as possible, and they provided her best education possible. She accepted that in a way, but she decided to become a police officer. As a policeman, she is career-driven, by the book perfectionist, and that way she became some kind of administration poster child for the successful integration, spending most of her police time in the EU workshops and conferences, giving proof of how this all successful is and what are the good police practices. But she's also stubborn and not so flexible in bending rules like her older and more experienced colleagues. So she gets into the conflicts with them. To cool her down, her boss sends her to resolve what looks like minor racial conflict in the troubled North Croatia region.
But instead of small retaliations, Roxana finds herself investigating a double murder with the only witness or accomplice in a coma. So the boundaries are crossed and the atmosphere in the village is on the edge of explosion. And Roxana is here confronted with the harsh reality of the people that she has been so far representing at inclusion workshops and panels. On top of that, she is alone because the Croatians in the village and her police colleagues, they reject her because she is Roma. And Roma people don't trust her because she is a policewoman. The only connection she makes is with Milena, but Milena is also leading her own secret investigation on the side, so she's hiding a lot of things from Roxana. When a new witness appears, who actually knows what has happened with the bodies in the forest, Roxana sees her chance to solve the case. But to solve the case, she needs to choose between her integrity and the fragile peace, keeping the fragile peace in the community. She will choose the peace, but for that she needs to commit a crime.
The crime solving is a driving engine of the series, and it allows us to explore complex characters' moral dilemmas. What is the right thing to do? And even if I know what is the right thing to do, will I still do it? Project is in the development stage. It is supported by the Croatian Audiovisual Center and Creative Europe Media. Our next steps are securing a Croatian broadcaster and closing the co-production structure in the region and Europe. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are in New York in the late 1940s. A tall, lean yet muscular man conducts the New York Philharmonic, one of the most prestigious orchestras in the US. The hall is full and the audience is enjoying the performance of one of the most well-known maestros of the era. His name is Dimitris Mitropoulos. He has his own unique style of conducting. He never reads the score, he knows everything by heart, and he never holds a baguette. Instead, he moves his hands like a madman filled with passion. Backstage is another passionate man, his young lover and protege, Leonard Bernstein. When the night ends, they will both live together and enjoy their night, talking to friends, making love, and talking about their favorite subject, music.
What Bernstein doesn't know is that their affair is about to collapse. Life magazine has decided to do a photo shoot and an interview of Dimitris Mitropoulos. They want to do a profile of one of the most famous conductors in the United States, the so-called monk of music. He decided to pose in his apartment, sitting on a leather chair, dressed only in a pair of shorts. There, protected by the Orthodox icons in his wall and wearing only a cross on his chest, he feels protected and he comes out as gay. He believes that by telling the truth, he will be liberated from living a life of lies. But in a very conservative period, and in the McCarthy era in the US, this behavior is not accepted. The backlash is massive.
Everything changes for Mitropoulos after that. He loses his friends, he loses his status, he loses his colleague, he loses the New York Philharmonic. In order to protect his lover, he secludes himself in his apartment and he starts communicating with Bernstein with letters to Leonard. Dear Lenny, don't make the same mistake I did. Find a nice wife, get married, live a normal life.
The pressure is unbearable. All eyes are on them. The New York Philharmonic comes with a suggestion. They are proposing that Mitropoulos will be kept in the background, hidden, only as artistic director, and Bernstein will become the new head conductor and the face of the most important orchestra in the country. But as a very religious man, Mitropoulos consents to his sacrifice. Bernstein is crushed by the dilemma. He decides to go to Mitropoulos' apartment and find him. He arrives there one night and finds him in terrible shape. He's fasting and praying. He gives him a ticket for Paris and tells him that he will be waiting at the airport the next day. Let's go to France for a while, to spend some time alone, to clear our minds and decide what we want to do.
The next morning, Bernstein indeed goes to the airport, but Mitropoulos never arrives. He has decided for them both. In his final letter to Bernstein, he urges him to accept the position and be successful and live his life. His career in the US is over. He hops on the next plane and goes to Milan to find his longtime friend, Maria Callas. There, at the La Scala Theatre, on the eve of conducting Mahler's No. 3 concerto, he dies of a massive heart attack. He dies from a broken heart. This is not just a story about two men falling in love at the wrong time, at the wrong place. This is a story about two lives being destroyed from the pressures of society. So what we need to do is to become more tolerant, because intolerance leads to destruction and to death. If we do not become more compassionate towards each other, we will be led to self-destruction.
Leonard Bernstein never had the opportunity to live his life with a man he loved and admired deeply. Mitropoulos died alone, away from the man he loved passionately. His work, his legacy are completely forgotten today. He paid the ultimate price because he wanted to be true to himself. And as he wrote to one of his final letters to Bernstein, in a very tender way, Lord, send me into this world not to be understood, but to understand, not to be loved, but love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christian. I'm the writer. I'm also a producer at my company Herald House in Belgium. We mostly produce international films, and this is our first series. Brooks is a sci-fi thriller set in a future city-state of Brussels. It's a place that's very divided, where the elite cling to power in the upper world, in their gated districts, while the poor and the rebels and the rejects are trapped underground in the old subway systems and the sewers. Now, let's meet our main character. This is Oiseau, that's French for bird. She's a young artist that was propelled to fame by the elite for her paintings of the underworld and the residents of the underworld. But, however, when she starts to speak up and she starts to talk about equality, the elite become afraid and they want to get rid of her. So they frame her for association with a rebel leader, Copernicus, who lives underground. And now she's cast out and she lives in Subaru, in the underworld, the place that she's always painted but never really knew. And now her goal is to get back up there, to find a way back to Brooks and to reclaim her old life. We created a little video. We put together some prompts for our artificial overlords, and we spent a day working on that, and let's look at the mood trailer. So Oiseau tries to get back to Brooks. That's what happens in the first season. There's many ways that she tries to get back to her former life. And she basically has two options. Either she joins the sewer police force led by Jericho, and she tries to work herself up to a position that gives her more independence. but then she would join the system that she's been rejected from and that she dislikes, a system of oppression. Or she joins Copernicus, the rebel leader, and maybe fights for independence or the people. But Copernicus is someone who also is a very dubious figure, and he's a designated terrorist by the upper world. What will happen eventually, we will see. You would have to watch the series to see what the end result is. So right now, we're aiming for 6 episodes of 45 minutes, and we are looking for partners. We're looking for people to help develop the show further. So if you are interested and would like to talk to me, find me in the hallway, and I'd be happy to have a conversation. So thank you very much for your time.
Hello, I'm Diana Paroyo. I'm from Romania, and I'm the producer of the show And Then We Took Berlin. For the past 10 years, I've been producing features, working with partners all over Europe. And to the series world, I am quite new. I started 2 years ago by handling the Romanian shootings for a wonderful series by Oscar-winning director Thomas Vinterberg. Now, on this German show, And Then We Took Berlin, I've been working so far with the support of the European Commission. I've also had alongside me a dear producer friend, Nina Frese. Nina is based in Germany now, and she has worked previously in the UK and in Spain. Working alongside me is also producer Maximilian Lifford, who's here with me in Zagreb. And together we are looking to attach an experienced series producer and work together with that TV producer on the creative development and through financing and shooting. Of course, there are many series and many films out there about Germany before the fall of the Berlin Wall. However, the musical story of Is Berlin has yet to be explored, and there were many exciting things that were happening at that time. This story is the story of young musicians in East Berlin who are fighting for self-expression. And it shows music as a form of resistance in a time when the state tightly controlled culture. The year is 1979, we're in East Berlin. We have a main protagonist, Belmondo, a young music producer, 29-year-old, who works for the state party, for the youth division of the state party. He organizes music events, but also on the side he traffics vinyl records and he hosts illegal parties. Belmondo's life will be turned upside down when he meets a Romanian talented singer, Goldie, at a music competition. Belmondo helps Goldie stay in East Berlin so she can escape a restrictive life back in communist Romania. He is captivated by her voice and he wants to help her become a star in Germany. He will get into a lot of clashes with the Romanian ambassador, with the Stasi. He hides her in a family pub run by his mother called the Die Lage. For a while, Belmondo manages to somehow stay on the good side of political leaders. He pitches and organizes this huge concert where he's about to feature the best musicians in the country. However, right before this concert, he finds out that the Stasi are planning to stifle a young musician's rebellion at the concert. And at the last minute, he manages to invite everyone to join him in a silent protest instead, and he manages to avoid a bloodbath. This silence cannot be arrested by the Stasi, but this silence, this finger thrown at the authorities also speaks 1,000 words. After the concert, Belmondo is going to be interrogated by the Stasi. He resigns for the state party as well. But in the basement of the family pub run by his family, he, together with musicians and artists, will find a way to defy the system. He will build a musical movement around Goldie, and a star will be born. In future seasons, this movement will grow more complex and more political, not only musical. The authorities will try to, at first, control the movement and afterwards destroy it. All the while, we will ask ourselves, will Belmondo, will Goldie, will their loved ones get their souls crushed by the system or not? As you can tell, we have a lot of music in the show. We will show all the different facets of the music world. We will show how music gets on records, on TV, on radio, how illegal cassettes are getting recorded and distributed. We will look at illegal events, always about to get busted by the cops. We will also show our young musicians playing, recording, rehearsing. We will look at top politicians who make all the decisions about the music world while living a life of Western-like luxury. And we will also hint to the power of multiculturalism. Goldie and Romanian musicians are working together with German musicians and really making a difference in the cultural scene of the city. First and foremost, the show is about these young musicians, the different ways in which they use their individual power and their collective power to just keep sane and to keep their loved ones protected. How is this relevant nowadays? With political extremist nationalist parties on the rise, many of us feel powerless. And Then We Took Berlin is actually an ode to power and to fighting for freedom. The past weeks in Romania have been of political turmoil, and what these have taught me is that we should take nothing for granted, and we shouldn't take our democracy for granted, and we should speak up to protect our societies. Of course, as producers, we think a lot about entertainment, and this show will be entertaining through great love triangles and friendships and crazy adventures and great songs. But I also think, as producers, we must consider the messages that we convey with our shows. And what I hope our show does is encourage us to know the past and learn from it, remind us of the beauty and also the fragility of all the things that we take for granted nowadays. I want to thank NEM for this opportunity to speak here today. I look forward to discussing this drama series with producers, with distributors, and with broadcasters. I'm also eager to learn about projects that we can help co-produce with Romania. And I thank you and look forward to the meetings.
Okay, relax, I'm the last one. What is a life if it's not a journey? And this series is truly a life journey. I will start, I'm in front of the project list of small things, but I prefer to call it a list of little things. This is a work title. And I will say a couple of words of myself and my work. It was for the jury yesterday, but still, I will skip it. My name is Filip Čolović. I was born in Belgrade in 1978. I directed numerous documentary films that were nationally and internationally awarded. I directed 3 TV movies for national television of Serbia. Last of them, Spring of the Last Lake, was among 20 best TV dramas that year. I've done a lot of series, and the last of that, you can watch it on HBO, A Walk with the Lion. It's a HBO streaming. I am a writer also. I have 4 novels and 1 book of short stories. Now something about this project. I was a script writer, co-writer, I was a second writer, but I've never done a show from the beginning to the end. And this is the first time I truly believe in this project, because it's intimate, it's personal, for me, it has a great value. After being diagnosed with a terminal illness, Bane, an irresponsible father, decides to take his estranged son Luka on a journey across the former Yugoslavia through reliving memories of his youth and creating new ones. Bane hopes to get to know his son before it's too late. At the first episode, at the opening, Bane finds out that he has cancer. And because he was divorced when his son was just 2 years old, he is afraid that his son will not know him. So he will try to give him some memories. He saw in some film that the actor filmed himself. He tried that, to do some video. He tried to write something, but that doesn't work. So he make of his list of his important things and want to show his son. They will travel all across Yugoslavia, and I will tell you about that places later. Now about the third character, because we need a vehicle for this road movie. In the first episode, we will see that his car is broke down, and he will take from his brother some old van, branded van aside, and in that van, this van is in a way third character of this series. This is a lyrical, bittersweet, and humorous story presented in the form of road movie, in series about connection, about love and divorce, life and death, family and friendship, clash of generation, understanding and misunderstanding, mistakes we done in life and try to fix it. This is a story about us from these lands, but in a way, it's a universal story. Over 10 episodes, it deeply explores the dynamic of fatherhood, showcasing the challenges and joys of the father-son relation. It focuses on the personal and emotional development of both main characters. For me, what's most important that we have a circle, because at the beginning, Bane will try to tell his son about his mother and father, and later he will get his son. Now, this synopsis is well known by the jury. You can read it. I will explain why this is very emotional for me. This is in a way my story, because a story of my mother, of my father, of my first kiss, sport, art, and everything went on way. Of course, it's fiction, but it's get away into this series. I think that if you're ready, I will go to the another one to talk a little bit about the characters, because we have 2 main characters in the story who travel all the way. First is Bane. Bane is his middle 40s. He's appealing. He has a great sense of humor. He's a little bit sarcastic, a little bit ironic. But he's a guy who never finished anything. He started to study philosophy, he never finished it. He started to play basketball, but he quit. He got married, he had a child, but he wasn't a good father. He's a good guy who is lost in this life and in this world. Luka is a typical child. He has 10 years. He is not so popular at school. He is fond of games, of course, of screens. He isn't aware of the world outside. He has a sympathy in his school. And one of the achievements for Bane as a father will be to help his kid to meet that girl. At the beginning, Luka doesn't like his father. He doesn't know him. His mother remarried. So he don't know his father. During this series, he will meet him and love him. Even in 10 episodes, we have that circle because we start from mother and father, and at the end, and the hospital van, and then later in hospital, because Bane is hiding his illness all through the series. At the end, Luca will find out that his father is ill, and at the hospital bed, he will say, because after every story, every episode, mother, father, sport, Bane will give him son a picture. So we make an album of his life. And Bane thinks that he's finished, he's lying in his hospital bed. Luca sat beside him and said, we didn't finish the album. Bane said, oh no, we finished. And then the Luca take the phone and make the selfie. It's the last photograph, the sun. And that's how the series ended. And now about the places. This is not a Yugo-nostalgic story, but Yugoslavia, of course, is one of the main characters. I was born in 1978, I'm that generation. I remembered Yugoslavia. All my good and bad memories for the childhood are in this country. For example, in the series you can see the death of my father on the Montenegrin seaside. My first kiss was on Croatia seaside, so I'm involved in Croatia also. My good friend went during the wars when we were little to live in Slovenia, so there is a story about Maribor also. And even sport, which takes place in Zagreb, it's a story about Dražen Petrović, famous basketball player, Croatian. Still is my story, because in Yugoslavia, Dražen Petrović was service in the army. His army service was in Belgrade, and he played basketball on my basketball court. So we have myths and legends about that basketball player also. So that all is, in a way, my story. Now I will list you to the chapters, because episodes will be within specific chapters, because you will understand what is most important to Bane and what he wants to pass to Luka. Chapter 1 lists Belgrade, Serbia. Chapter 2, Mother Zlatibor, also Serbia. Chapter 3, Father, Herceg Novi, Montenegro. Chapter 4, the first kiss, Opatija, Croatia. Chapter 5, Sport, Zagreb, also Croatia. Chapter 6, Friendship, Maribor, Slovenia. Chapter 7, Art, Sarajevo, Visegrad, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Chapter 8, Love, Ohrid, Skopje, it's Macedonia. Chapter 9, First Concert, Belgrade. Chapter 10, Sun, Belgrade, that's what I talk about. The circle is finished. You can see, of course, possible of all co-production, because we are through all these republics, then now countries, all 6 of them. There will be actors from, of course, those countries, etc., etc. At the end, I must say something about music and visuality. Visuality for this kind of road movie is, how do I say, it's in a way cinematographic paradise. You have different landscapes. We have in series, we have lakes, seaside, we have hills and everything else. We have a diversity of Yugoslavia, three religions. We have Orthodox, Catholics, Muslim, and everything else. And also the music, which is most important for a road movie. Music will be, of course, we have our own composer, but still we will have rock music during all kinds of series. I have the soundtracks with the bands of those republics, now countries, which is a little bit nostalgic and I think very appropriate for this kind of road movie. Thank you very much.